When next the boy cried wolf, he was paid no heed in the village, and when he returned to his field, the sheep had been massacred. Thus always to liars, the people said. Afterwards he wept and gestured madly in a corner of the shepherd's house, racked with guilt, overcome with sorrow. The shepherd obliged the boy in his grief, but after several days was seized by an inescapable practicality. So he sent the boy out, giving him a few days' worth of food, to find his own way. The shepherd without his sheep made his way into the forest, where he searched for wood chopping work. The boy in his dirty leggings and torn shirt made his way into the village, and sat for many days on a whetstone in the street, and told people his story. He was raised in the shepherd's house, though he was not his son. He was charged with watching some of the sheep, a small flock made of small sheep. He was given a dog barely out of puppyhood to help herd them, and the two of them and the little sheep made a child's play of adult work. Not a true shepherd, the boy did not stand on a hill and watch carefully. He sat with the sheep, stroked their greasy fur, played with lambs and with the dog, to the extent that the dog almost forgot its vocation in the excitement of its play. The boy loved the sheep and the dog, he explained, spending every day alone with them in the heat of the field, or the bitter wind of the field, but always unprotected, exposed in that field. And out of love, he cries, and the people stop and stare if they are immodest, and shy away if they fear God, for lies are from the devil. Out of love I kept an eye out for the wolves. There are few wolves around here, but I knew they were out there in the trees at the end of the meadow. The first wolf I saw was in a tree, the branch sagging heavily under him. You didn't know wolves spent any time in trees, but you haven't seen the wolf as I have. And I saw him in that tree, dark and heavy and shadowy, and he had his eye on the sheep. And out of love, I left them, and ran as fast as I could to warn you all. And you saw my tears of gratitude when you came with me to save my flock. And my love scared the wolf away. But the wolves did not believe in love. They came closer and closer in the next weeks. I saw them in the grasses sometimes, and they saw me and hid, so that I only saw them once whenever I saw them, but once was enough. Once glimpsed somewhere, a wolf is present everywhere. And so again I came to you afraid. And a few of you came with me, with your guns, but with a sweeping gaze you flattened the field in your mind and saw no wolves within. That night I shook with fear for those grasses full of wolves. And the next day I wept because I knew I was leading my flock to death. They calmly walked into the field, and when grass hid them, or I happened to look away, I knew I would not see them again, that each sheep would disappear one by one. I sat on a rock devastated. The little dog jumped around me trying to rouse me. He was naive. He did not see the wolves, having an eye in his innocence only for the sheep. I closed my eyes, and I could feel the wolves in the grass, in the trees, leaping past me on the wind. And once I felt one brush against me without a sound, so stealthily that even the dog didn't see me. So again I came to you, and though I pleaded, you turned away from me, all of you, though I called on your duty to charity, and though I promised you things I did not have. And when I came back to the field alone, the sheep were gone. He told this story many times in the street, in a high voice, and he spoke more than he ate, and for this reason he was mad. When a group of monks came through the village, they took the boy with them, and the people were grateful for this kindness. The monks heard his story, could not help but hear it, and they listened carefully, because they were afraid, because it was their holy duty to take in this liar, or madman, or maybe the devil himself, the way his eyes started when he told the story. One monk, who was braver, asked the mad child questions. How many wolves? Did they take the entire flock? Did you find pieces of them, evidence of the massacre? Have the other shepherds and farmers in the area encountered wolves? And the boy said, many, and yes, and no, and no. How do you know there were wolves? At this question, the monks record that the devil spoke through the boy, because he raved and cried and thrashed, and said, you don't understand. I saw them, they were everywhere. And no one believes me ever, even you who are holy men. So you see, even God does not believe me. When the boy slept feverishly one night, one of the monks who had been to university told the story of Cassandra, a heathen princess who was gifted with prophecy, accursed by her pagan god in that her words would never be believed. The other monk scoffed. Is the boy some sort of wolf prophet? They mockingly asked. Even with a curse from a god, you cannot hide an army of wolves. You cannot hide a massacre. If the boy is lying, or if he is mad, then where are the sheep? Someone asked. Where is the little dog? Maybe the dog led the sheep astray. Maybe the dog is the wolf, the fat monk laughed. I am serious, said the other monk. The boy is mad, but the sheep are gone. They are nowhere. And if there is no wolf, then where did they go? But it was late and cold, and the fact remained that the boy was clearly insane, and he lost his sheep like he lost his mind, so there was no more to be said about it. Nothing more was said, but the questioning monk stayed up all night and watched the darkness. He heard the sounds of the night, and he prayed very hard because he also heard wolves in the distance. Though he was not sure what wolves sounded like, he thought he could hear them, because a flock of sheep was missing, and a little dog, and a boy who professed nothing but childlike love had been cast off from the world, and also because he, the monk, was traveling through many dark woods and across scorching fields without cover. But most of all he prayed because he had been called to care for the sick, and this boy was sick with what appeared to be faith, in his own story and in his eventual redemption through the telling and retelling of it. And so the monk prayed, and he steeled himself against contagion. When next the boy cried wolf, he was paid no heed, and something carried him off in the night.